Ex-wife, 39 female, is going homeless. Our 2 daughters, 4 female and 6 female, are moving in with me, 33 male, but I refuse to let my ex-wife move into my house. My ex-wife and I were married for about 7 years and have 2 daughters. The end of our marriage was rocky and she ended up divorcing me about a year and a half ago. It was a hard time for me, but after everything was finalized, I understood that the divorce was really needed, and I'm truly happy now. I have moved on long ago and progressing in my life like never before. We have a good co-parenting relationship, but nothing more. I live in my house that I recently bought and my ex lives in an apartment she rents. My ex recently called me to ask for help. She hasn't been doing well financially and can't afford rent anymore. She told me that she will be evicted in a couple of weeks and had nowhere to go. She asked if she could move in together with our daughters for a couple of months until she finds a new job and new place. She said that she was going to help me out at home by cooking, cleaning, and doing all the housework. She kept going on about how she has nobody and that I'm her last hope or she will otherwise have to live in her car. She said that she knows I'm able to take care of all of us financially and that it would be amazing if I helped her out in these tough times. I told her first off that I'm ready to take in our daughters full-time whenever needed and that she could let me know anytime when I could come pick up their stuff. My daughters are my #1 priority and I'll always take care of them no matter what happens. I did tell her that I won't let her move in under any circumstances. I told her that the financial safety and security I provide are a privilege she doesn't have. I'm always ready to take care of our daughters, but what happens to her is none of my concern. She started crying, and she kept telling me that she would be the perfect housewife and help out as much as she could. She said that she had no other option than living in her car. I told her that I don't need nor do I want her as my housewife, and that if she needs to live in her car to survive, then that is something she'll have to deal with by herself. I know that I come off as heartless, but I don't see why it would be my obligation to help her. She isn't my wife anymore, so anything that doesn't concern the kids I truly don't care about. The only obligation I have is taking care of our daughters, and I'm going to do that without hesitation. I don't want to have my ex involved in my life any more than she already is, and have no plan to change that. Do you guys think I owe her help in this situation? Edit. For the people asking about our divorce, she made the last few years of our marriage hell for me. I only put up with her for the sake of our daughters. She also tried to screw me over in the divorce, but it didn't work out for her. I have forgiven her, but I haven't forgotten. I see more negative coming from letting her stay with than positive. She would verbally and sometimes even physically mistreat me. She kicked me out of our then apartment multiple times and left me stranded to stay with a friend. I know for a fact if I went through the situation, she wouldn't even give me the time of day, let alone help me in any way. Now for the top advice. You're right, she's not your responsibility, but make sure that decision won't backfire. I can't imagine your daughters being very happy with seeing their mom suffering and you not being willing to help. I know it's more complex than that, but they're young. They certainly won't understand. Isn't there any social system in your country? I can't imagine she's just going to be without any form of support. I'll always make sure my daughters are taken care of. I know what I'm doing might seem heartless, but the things I have gone through because of her don't weigh up to the benefits of me letting her stay. I still pay child support, but I don't really know what her options are besides that. It's not a good idea for their mom to move back in. The kids won't be happy or you will get used. I feel like there are some important details missing. The divorce was finalized 1.5 years ago. Did she not get 50% of marital assets? I'm just assuming since you've since been able to buy a house, she likely got something. What conditions are causing her to become homeless? Is she renting a luxury apartment and have a luxury car and can't afford it working a job? Or is she having to leave work because she needs surgery or got diagnosed with a terminal illness? If you make enough money after paying child support to afford a home and between a job and child support she can't afford rent, I feel like there has to be something missing from this story. Especially considering in my state, child support for 2 kids would be 30% of your taxable income. I want to add that depending on the state/city, if you let her move in, she could claim tenant status and you would be hard-pressed to evict her. Please speak with an attorney before you consider this as an option. A better short-term option would be to pay for a short-term hotel for a specified amount of time to allow her to make her own arrangements, to show your kids you try to help. But first and foremost, please speak with an attorney before you do anything. Next story. Wife asks about open relationship. I don't think I love her anymore. So, like everyone on the planet, we also watched in shock when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And, well, eventually we found out about her entanglement and their unconventional marriage. Wife got excited about open relationships and started discussing pros and cons about such a relationship. And eventually she came to the conclusion that we can have a successful open relationship because we are both very attractive people who won't have issues finding hookups easily. She is a 10 out of 10 on most days, and I am 8.5 or 9 over 10 on my best day. I was humoring her, but now I shut her down and told her that I have no desire to change the dynamics of our marriage, and she accepted it and we closed the topic. That was a week ago, and I somehow have lost feelings for her. I don't know how to describe it any other way. We used to have a very active, intimate life, but for the last week, we had this discussion last week. It's as if my libido has suddenly died. I can't even bring myself to kiss or hug her. My mind is on guard constantly as if it's waiting for the other shoe to drop. She has noticed something's wrong, but I told her it's work-related. Info, I'm 34 male and she's 36 female, 3 years married. Help me out here, please. I don't want to lose our marriage, but it has crossed my mind to be honest. I don't know what to do anymore. Knowing that she wants other people has probably made you feel like you aren't enough for her, and has you wondering if she would be in the moment with you or if she would be. It has been imagining you're someone else. That's the danger of even mentioning opening a relationship. It felt like a gut punch, but one that reaches inside your body. I am waiting for her to bring it up again. Maybe it's in a month, year, or decade. Yup. Once your partner tells you they want other people, you can't unknow it. Unfortunately, it often ends relationships because the non-asker can't get past feeling inadequate, and that leads to them shutting off intimately and emotionally. I wouldn't say it's just insecurity or inadequacy. Bringing up the topic of an open relationship also just plain ruins the magic. Being in love with someone and then telling you they would like to see other people isn't a positive feeling. An open relationship is sometimes also just the kink of wanting to sleep with other people. It's just like if a partner asks to fulfill a kink that you found disgusting or maybe even morally reprehensible. That's also a way someone would look at another permanently differently afterwards. It also could be the way she was so excited about it. She mentioned how good both of you looked and how easy it would be to find other people. She completely missed the point. It's easy to find others to hook up with. She completely took you out of the picture. She didn't even ask you what you thought of open marriages before proposing the idea. I too don't think I'd be happy if that was requested by my husband, even if he dropped the idea. I'd wonder if he's been unhappy in the marriage and for how long. My heart would have been so torn by the consideration of it by him. Thank you for understanding. My heart is torn that she was even considering this. I get it, man. I'd be crushed if my wife was willing to do this, and it would make me question everything I ever thought. I think I'd try marriage counseling. Prof Plum said it well. I'll add that feelings of insecurity are likely to continue and grow worse when you start analyzing what she's doing, where she's going, who she's going/doing it with. If my wife of almost 20 years just started talking about wanting to open our relationship up, I imagine I would be in the same boat as you. Once this topic is broached, there's really no going back from it. Unfortunately, it will always be in the back of your mind and can be a relationship ending. The fact it's affecting you to the point you've lost feelings of affection and intimacy for your wife isn't good. Don't rug sweep it or lie about it. Be honest with your partner. Let her know this is what's bothering you. Maybe the feelings will come back. I can guarantee they won't if you continue to not talk about it. Next story is titled, Fiancé left me after betraying my trust and I'm not sure how to feel. My 32 male fiancé, 32 female of 10 years in a fantastic relationship, developed feelings for another man after a very brief attempt at an open relationship, and then cut contact with him saying she would work on repairing our relationship. I convinced her that he was manipulative and bad for her, and she agreed. She blocked him online and committed to stay with me. But 3 weeks ago, he managed to find a way to sneakily send her a message via another app saying, "I miss you." She said it brought up emotions in her, but she promised to not respond to him and we moved forward. Since then, only 3 weeks, she became distant with me, and we started arguing because I could feel her pulling away. Not loud, shouty fights, but some uncomfortable discussions. I made my demands clear that I expected her to work on repairing our relationship. She was falling into a serious depression, and so she was not even able to hear me speak about how hurt I was about all this, without her getting defensive and angry. I was left trying to comfort and take care of her without being able to express my feelings. One night, after a relatively small argument, she suddenly became very angry and cold with me, and I didn't know why. The next morning, she broke up with me virtually out of the blue. When just 5 days earlier, she had given me a ring as a symbolic token of her commitment to me. After breaking up with me, she then admitted to me she had phoned the other guy the previous night while I was out of the house to tell him that she missed him too. I was devastated and completely destroyed. Since then, she insists that he was not the reason she broke up with me, and that there were other things that she wasn't happy with, like our communication styles and our intimate life, though she had not brought up these things as serious problems ever before. I told her I considered this to be cheating or infidelity, as she intentionally broke her promise to me to not contact him again. She says that it doesn't count as infidelity because she didn't keep it a secret, and that she told me the next day, but she does consider it as a betrayal. She says she felt depressed and needed someone to speak to, so she called him for comfort. She could not explain to me why she couldn't call her mom or sister or friends instead. She also says that despite her betrayal, she feels like I've hurt her just as much, though when I ask why she can't give me any answer, I can understand. I actually think a betrayal sounds worse than infidelity. I don't really care what we call it, but to me it seems like she is minimizing how bad her actions actually were. To me, it was a complete breach of trust and honesty. Edit, she also told me she's leaving because she wants to be single and explore again. I guess after rediscovering her sexuality, via my help through the years. She was never intimately attuned all along. She even says she wanted to spend her life and grow old with me, but she needs to be single and explore for 2 to 3 years. Not sure if this is just a lie to make me feel better or something. All of this is very out of character for her, and her personality changes started happening the week her doctor doubled her antidepressant meds. Any advice with this? Now for the advice. This is one of those times where OP badly needs to recognize they are fighting for nothing. The relationship cannot be saved. When you had to convince her that this other guy was bad news, it was already over. You just need to accept it and let her go. Good luck. Sometimes I read these and I just can't. I can't imagine how low your self-worth has to be to try to appease these selfish a-holes. And then when they take a massive crap on them anyways, they come here asking any advice? Leave, run, exit. Any other synonym for escape? Infidelity, betrayal, those are just semantics. At the end of the day, that trust was breached. You should ask her. If her child was going through the same things, would she encourage them to do the same things she did? Based on her answer and her reasoning, you should have an idea of whether or not you really see a future with this person, and if you're both on the same page. If not, ask yourself if you're willing to put up with that, and how long can you last in that kind of relationship. P.S. Cries for open relationships are red flags for me personally, so that should have been an indicator already that something was amiss. Open marriage to attempt to fix something that instead should have been done with investing time on each other, better communication, and couples counseling. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Open marriage might work if it started from the beginning, but developing feelings for someone down the line is always the risk. It was still emotional cheating. Hope both of you set your relationship on fire when you open it up. Just realize that the trust is gone and move on. Learn from this and do not do it again. Last story. My sister's 31 female husband, 43 male, keeps trying to flirt with me, 23 female. So a few months ago, I had surgery. Nothing complicated, but we had family members come in and check on me after work. At first, she would come with him, but then last week I was there, he came alone as her work was holding her behind. Here are the things he did that made me suspicious. In one instance, he tried changing my IV bag even though the nurse said she would do it, and he stuck his crotch in my face. Even the nurse gave me a look of concern. 2, one time he kept calling me good girl because I did my therapy stuff. To me, good girl is, I don't know. My ex would call me that during intimacy and it was a turn on. So that word is so creepy coming from him. But okay, maybe I'm overreacting on that one. 3, another time he told me how beautiful he thought I was. But when I gave him the crazy look eye, he said how his sister was prettier than me. Just enough to be uncomfortable for me. I told my sister about instance 1 and 3, and she said that I was likely overreacting, but that she would talk to him and she was defensive and I just dropped it. I didn't tell her about number 2, as I'm probably just exaggerating. Yesterday was our parents' 30th anniversary dinner, and in side talk he asked if I liked older men and how older men are great for women, etc. I just kind of evaded his question. I prefer men 28 and below personally. Anyways, these are all things that in themselves may not be aha moments, but this man is creeping me out honestly. I noticed him checking me out yesterday. Maybe I'm just seeing things. I don't know. Next time, answer his question loud enough for others to hear. No, I don't ever think about dating some creepy old guy. Anyone over 28 is not attractive to me and too old for me, or something like that. Dude is currently getting away with being an absolute a-hole because others aren't witness to his awful behavior. Dudes like that usually need to be embarrassed into stopping. Avoid being alone with him. I hope others catch on soon. Good luck. The phrasing that works is, I am too young for you. Put the shame on his preferences where it belongs. I agree with above about loudly responding every time he makes a comment. Protect yourself by never being alone with him if at all possible. Enlist others. Do you have other siblings? To ensure you aren't stuck sitting next to him. He is a creep. Your sister is in denial. Nah, this dude is trying to get with you. Has anything changed with your sister physically or emotionally the past year or so? If so, that may be what is pushing his pea-sized brain to try and go for you. But either way, it's pretty gross of him. Just the fact that she's over 30 now and he probably picked her up when she was her sister's age. The dude has a preference and it's much younger women. Ding ding ding. His wife aged out of his preferred age range, so he's looking for trade-in. It's absolutely gross.